Hey there, thanks for clicking on this video. I see people in my clinic every single day, good, hardworking people who come in around this time of year feeling completely defeated. And they almost always say the same thing, Doc, I don't know what's wrong with me. I just feel broken. So today I want to sit down with you and talk about something that affects your daily life more than almost anything else. I'm talking about your energy. Your ability to get up in the morning, put your feet on the floor, and feel like you can actually tackle the day. And here's the thing, if we don't get this right, so many of you are going to suffer through this beautiful spring weather. You're going to feel miserable. And worse, you might spend a ton of money, your hard-earned money, on tests, supplements, and doctor visits that don't actually fix the root problem. So let me ask you something. Think about the last 2 weeks to a month, right? As winter turned into spring. Have you felt like this? The sun is finally out. The birds are chirping. The temperature is climbing by all logic. You should feel amazing, right? You should feel like you've come out of hibernation. But instead, you feel worse than you did in January. You feel more tired now than when you were bundled up in your heavy coat, scraping ice off your windshield. You wake up in the morning, the alarm goes off, and you just lie there. Not because you're lazy. Believe me, you are not lazy. You lie there because your body feels like someone pulled the plug, like you're running on a nearly dead battery. Your arms feel heavy. Your legs feel like they're filled with wet sand. Just getting dressed feels like a workout. You finally drag yourself to the kitchen, pour a cup of coffee, and try to start your day, but that fog never lifts. You go to the grocery store, just to your local Walmart or Kroger, and by the time you've walked 3 aisles, your heart is pounding. You're actually short of breath just from walking. Then you come home. You have to walk up the stairs, maybe just to the second floor, and your legs are shaking. Your knees feel wobbly. Like you might grab the railing at any second. Your feet feel like they're stepping on pillows, not on solid ground. Later, you sit down on the couch, you turn on the television, maybe a game show, maybe the evening news, and within 20 minutes, your eyelids feel like someone put weights on them. You nod off. You wake up an hour later feeling groggy and annoyed, but then comes the cruel part. You go to bed that night exhausted, and what happens? You can't sleep, you toss and turn, your mind is racing, your heart might feel like it's fluttering, you feel this weird, restless energy inside you, but your body is completely wiped out. If I just described your life right now, and I know for many of you, I know exactly what starts going through your head. You think, oh no, is this from that bad cold I had back in December? Did that virus mess up my system for good? Or you think, is this my heart? Am I having a blockage? Is this how a stroke starts? And then for a lot of you, there's this deeper, sadder thought. You say to yourself, well, I guess this is just what aging feels like. The machine is wearing out. The parts are getting rusty. I guess this is my new normal, just dragging myself through each day until I don't. I hear this all the time and it breaks my heart because it's not true. So here's what many of you do next. Your kids get worried, or you get worried enough to finally make an appointment. You go to your primary care doctor, or maybe you even get a referral to a cardiologist. You sit in that waiting room for 45 minutes. You get an EKG. They take 5 or 6 vials of blood. Maybe you even get a full cardiac workup, a stress test, an echocardiogram. And then you come back for your results, and the doctor says, and I've said this myself many times, well, your blood pressure is well controlled, your blood sugar is normal, your cholesterol panel looks good, your heart is structurally fine. On paper, that is fantastic news. You should be thrilled, but you're not thrilled because you still feel terrible. Your legs are still weak. You still can't walk up the stairs. You still feel like you're going to fall asleep at 3 in the afternoon. So you leave the office thinking, if nothing is wrong, why do I feel so wrong? You are not crazy, and you are not just getting old. Today, I am going to pull back the curtain. I am going to show you exactly what is likely happening inside your body. And I am going to give you a simple, affordable, food-based solution. No expensive pills, no fancy detox teas, no gimmicks. This is for educational purposes only. Always talk to your own doctor before making any changes. But if you find this helpful, please give this video a thumbs up and hit that subscribe button. Ring the bell so you don't miss future videos. Let's get into it. If you have been to the doctor, your heart, your blood vessels, your basic labs all look fine, but you are still exhausted, your legs feel weak, and you get that pounding heart from just mild activity, stop guessing, stop worrying. You likely are not old. You likely do not have a mysterious, untreatable disease. What you likely have is a deficiency in one of the most overlooked, underappreciated nutrients in the entire field of medicine, especially for people over 50 or 60. That nutrient is potassium. Now, I know when we talk about nutrients, we all have our go-to answers. Go to any senior center, any park bench, any community potluck. Ask someone, what should I take for my health? 9 out of 10 people will say calcium. You need calcium for your bones. Drink your milk, take your calcium citrate. Or they'll say protein. You need more protein so you don't lose muscle. Eat more chicken, drink those protein shakes. And look, those things matter. They absolutely do. Calcium builds your frame, protein builds your muscles. You need them. But here's the critical piece that almost nobody talks about. Having a good frame and good muscles is like having a beautiful, well built house with brand new furniture. That's great. But the house doesn't do anything unless you have electricity, unless you have fuel. Potassium is the electricity for your human body. It is the spark plug. It is the hidden battery for your heart and for every single muscle you have. Let me explain this in plain English. I want you to really get this because once you understand it, everything will click. First, your muscles. The reason you can walk, carry a laundry basket, lift a pot of soup, or climb a flight of stairs is that your muscles are constantly contracting and relaxing. Squeeze, release, that's movement. But your muscles don't just decide to do that on their own. They need a signal. They need a tiny electrical message from your nerves to say, okay, now contract. That signal cannot happen without potassium. Potassium ions move in and out of your muscle cells. And that movement creates the electrical charge that tells your muscle fibers to fire. Imagine you have a brand new electric car, a Tesla, a Ford Mustang, Mach-E, whatever you like. Beautiful paint, great tires, heated seats, but the battery is dead, completely dead. You push the accelerator and nothing happens. The motor is fine, the wiring is fine, but there's no electricity. That is exactly what happens when you are low on potassium. Your muscle cells lose that electrolyte balance. They stop receiving the signal, so they don't contract properly. They just kind of sit there. That is why you feel leg weakness. That is why your thighs shake when you walk upstairs. It is not because your bones are bad. It is because your muscles are running on empty. Second, your heart. Your heart is the most important muscle in your body. It never stops. It beats about 100,000 times a day, roughly 3 billion times in an average lifetime. That rhythm, that beautiful, steady lub-dub is controlled by electricity, specifically by sodium and potassium moving in and out of your heart muscle cells. They create an electrical pulse that tells your heart, okay, now squeeze, now relax, now squeeze, now relax. When your potassium level drops too low, that electrical system gets glitchy. It's like a radio station with static. Your heart doesn't know how fast to beat anymore. Sometimes it goes too fast. Sometimes it feels like it skips a beat. Sometimes you feel a sudden thump in your chest like a fish flopping around. Many of my patients feel this in panic. They rush to the emergency room or make an urgent appointment with a cardiologist. And again, the heart itself is often perfectly fine. The valves are good. The arteries are open. But the battery is low, the potassium is missing. Now, be honest with me, look back at that list I just described. Leg weakness, wobbly knees, heart pounding from just walking across the parking lot. Shortness of breath, feeling like you need to nap in the middle of the day. But then trouble sleeping at night. How many of those hit home? Drop a comment, just put a number 3, 4, all of them. Let me know I'm not alone in this. And if this sounds like you, put a 1 in the comments so I know you're listening. Okay, so if potassium is this important, why do so many of us, especially folks over 50, run low on it in the spring? This isn't random. There is real clear physiology behind it. Let me walk you through it. Reason 1, spring weather. As the temperature goes up, your body naturally speeds up its metabolism. You don't have to be running a marathon. Just sitting in your living room, your internal furnace burns a little hotter, and when your metabolism speeds up, you sweat more. Now, I know what you're thinking. I'm not sweating, I'm just watching television, but there's something called insensible sweating. Water is constantly evaporating from your skin, even when you don't feel wet. And in the spring, that rate goes way up compared to winter. That invisible sweat carries potassium right out of your body. Reason 2, your gut doesn't work as well as it used to. This is just a fact of getting older. Your digestive system becomes less efficient. You might eat the exact same meal as your 30-year-old daughter, but your body pulls out less of the nutrients, including potassium, so you are absorbing less from the food you eat. Reason 3. Your appetite changes in the winter. We crave comfort food, stews, roasts, baked casseroles. But when spring hits, a lot of people lose their appetite for heavy food. Suddenly, all you want is something light. Maybe a bowl of rice porridge, maybe some crackers, maybe toast with jam. And here is where it gets really tricky. A lot of people, especially folks from certain cultural backgrounds, but honestly, Americans do this too, reach for pickled vegetables, pickles, olives, salted ferments, kimchi, sauerkraut, things that are easy on the stomach and taste salty and satisfying. But here's the problem. Those pickled and fermented foods are loaded with sodium. And in your body, sodium and potassium are like two kids fighting over the same toy. When sodium levels go up, your kidneys say, okay, time to get rid of the extra sodium. And to do that, they flush out potassium right along with it. So you are sitting there eating a salty pickle thinking you're just having a light snack. And that pickle is literally pushing potassium out of your body through your urine. You see the problem? Less coming in from food, more going out through sweat and urine. Your potassium tank runs low, and suddenly you feel like a car sputtering on fumes. Now, I can already hear what some of you are thinking. Okay, doc, I get it. I need potassium. Should I run down to CVS or Walgreens and buy some potassium pills? Should I order those expensive electrolyte powders or those little vials of liquid potassium I see advertised online? Please, I need you to hear me very clearly on this. Do not go buy potassium supplements over the counter unless your doctor runs a blood test, finds that you have severe hypokalemia. Dangerously low potassium and gives you a prescription strength supplement with specific dosing instructions. Do not take potassium pills on your own. Why am I so firm about this? Because potassium is not like vitamin C. You can take a lot of vitamin C and your body just pees out the extra. No big deal. Potassium is different. Your kidneys have a very specific way of handling it. The medical saying is eat more, eat less, pee less, don't eat, still pee a little. Your kidneys are constantly trying to keep your potassium level in a very narrow, safe range. If you take a high concentration potassium pill without medical supervision, especially if your kidneys are not working perfectly, and many people over 50 have some degree of reduced kidney function without even knowing it, you can accidentally push your potassium level too high. That condition is called hyperkalemia, and it is dangerous. It can cause severe heart rhythm problems, including cardiac arrest. This is not a scare tactic. This is real. I have seen people end up in the hospital because they thought if a little is good, more is better. So what is the safe, effective, affordable way to fix this food? The answer is almost always food. Potassium from food, from potatoes, spinach, mushrooms, beans comes bundled with fiber, water, and other nutrients. Your body absorbs it slowly and steadily. It takes what it needs, and if there's a little extra, your kidneys can handle it just fine. You cannot overdose on potassium from eating real food. Your body has built-in safety valves for that. But you can absolutely overdose on potassium pills. So let's do this the smart way. Let's go to the grocery store, not a fancy health food store, just your regular local supermarket. And I am going to show you 4 high potassium superstars. These are foods you have probably walked past 100 times. They seem ordinary, humble, maybe even a little boring, but their potassium content is higher than bananas, sometimes several times higher than apples. I call them hidden ginseng for your energy. Add these to your table this spring. Rotate through them, cook them for yourself and your spouse. I promise you, and I have seen this with my own patients, if you stick with this for 1 month, you will feel a real difference. More energy, stronger legs, better sleep. You'll stand taller when you walk. Get a pen or save this video to a playlist. Let's go shopping. Number 1, beef stew with potatoes. I know I can already see some of you rolling your eyes. Potatoes really, doc. The same potatoes I ate when I was a broke college student. The same potatoes my grandmother used to stretch a meal. That's just starch. Hold on, you are not alone in that thinking. But that is one of the biggest nutritional misunderstandings out there in the international nutrition world. Potatoes actually have a fantastic nickname. They are called the apple of the earth, and they are a genuine potassium powerhouse. Let me give you the numbers because data doesn't lie. Everyone knows the saying. An apple a day keeps the doctor away. Apples are healthy. I like apples, but an average apple has about 50 milligrams of potassium per 800 grams. Now, a potato, a plain, humble, russet or Yukon Gold potato has about 420 milligrams of potassium per 800 grams. Do the math, that is more than 8 times the potassium of an apple, even a banana. The fruit that has built its entire reputation on being the potassium king has about 250 milligrams per 800 grams. The potato beats the banana by a wide margin. But wait, it gets even better. Potatoes are cheap. They are affordable for almost any budget. They last for weeks in a cool, dark pantry. You don't need to rush to the store every few days. And here's the best part. The potassium in potatoes is highly absorbable. Some vegetables like carrots or dark leafy greens need to be cooked with a fair amount of oil for your body to access their nutrients, not potatoes. The potassium is water soluble and very easy for your aging gut to absorb. Now, I am not telling you to eat French fries from a fast food drive-thru. And I am not telling you to eat those loaded baked potatoes with a ton of sour cream, bacon bits, and salt. That's not health food. I am telling you to make a classic, hearty, nutritious meal, beef stew with potatoes. Why beef? Because many of my patients over 50, especially postmenopausal women and anyone who has been eating a lighter diet, are also a little low on iron, and low iron causes fatigue all by itself. Beef, especially a cut with some marbling like chuck or brisket, is one of the best sources of heme iron, the type of iron your body absorbs most easily. You put the potassium from the potatoes together with the iron from the beef, and you have a 1-2 punch for energy. Let me walk you through exactly how to make this so it comes out tender, flavorful, and easy to eat, even if you have dental issues or trouble chewing. Go to the meat counter at your grocery store. Buy about 1.5 to 2 pounds of beef chuck or beef brisket. Look for a piece that has some white streaks of fat running through it. That marbling will melt during cooking and keep the meat tender. Take it home, cut the beef into bite-sized pieces, roughly the size of a pair of dice or a little bigger. Put the beef in a large pot, cover it with cold water, add a few slices of fresh ginger and a splash of cooking wine. You can use a dry sherry, a white wine, or even a non-alcoholic cooking wine. Turn the heat to high. When the water comes to a boil, you will see foam and impurities rise to the top. That is normal. Use a large spoon to skim that foam off, then drain the beef in a colander. Now, here is the critical step: rinse the beef with warm water. Not cold. Cold water will tighten the meat fibers and you will end up with tough, chewy stew no matter how long you cook it. Warm water keeps the fibers relaxed. Set the beef aside, get a separate pot. A Dutch oven is perfect if you have one, but any heavy bottom pot works. Heat a tablespoon of oil over medium heat. Add chopped green onions, scallions, sliced ginger, and a few minced garlic cloves. Saute until they smell amazing, about 1 minute. Add the beef, brown it on all sides. You are not trying to cook it through. You just want a nice golden brown color on the outside. That builds flavor. Now add a splash of regular soy sauce for saltiness, a tiny splash of dark soy sauce if you have it. It adds a rich color, and a small pinch of sugar, about half a teaspoon. The sugar isn't for sweetness. It helps balance the flavors and helps the meat tenderize. Here's the most important step: pour in hot water, not cold tap water, hot water, enough to cover the beef by about an inch. Turn the heat to high, bring it to a boil, then immediately reduce the heat to the lowest setting. Cover the pot, let it simmer gently for about 40 minutes. While that is happening, peel 3 or 4 medium potatoes, cut them into chunks, not too small or they will dissolve into mush. About 1.5 inches is good. After the beef has simmered for 40 minutes, test it with a fork. The fork should go in with some resistance, but not be rock hard. Add the potato chunks to the pot, add salt, just a teaspoon to start. You can adjust later, stir gently, cover the pot again, let it simmer for another 20 minutes. After 20 minutes, the potatoes should be soft and creamy, the beef should be fork tender. Turn the heat back up to medium-high and let the liquid reduce and thicken for about 5 minutes. You want a rich gravy-like consistency. Now take the lid off and just breathe in that smell. That is the smell of your energy coming back. The potatoes will be soft, almost buttery. They will have absorbed the beef juices. The beef will be so tender you can almost cut it with a spoon. Your grandparents could eat this without any trouble. No tough chewing, no hard bits. Here is my favorite trick for someone who has really low appetite in the spring. Take a ladle of that broth, that rich, savory gravy, and spoon it over a bowl of plain white rice. Mix it in. My patients tell me they can eat a whole bowl of that when they couldn't even look at food before. That is not just comfort food, that is medicine, good, delicious, affordable medicine. Number 2, spinach salad with bean thread noodles. If potatoes are the blue-collar hero of potassium, spinach is the green, leafy champion of spring. And I mean fresh spring spinach, the kind with tender leaves and maybe even a little pink root still attached. Spinach is a true nutritional all-star per 100 grams. Fresh spinach has about 560 milligrams of potassium. That is even higher than the potatoes we just praised. It's one of the highest potassium vegetables you can buy, but spinach doesn't stop there. It is also loaded with vitamin K and folate. Let me tell you why those matter for you. Vitamin K is like a traffic cop for calcium. You take calcium for your bones. That's good, but calcium needs direction. It needs to be told, go to the bones, not to the blood vessels. Vitamin K helps guide calcium into your bone matrix, where it actually strengthens your skeleton. It also helps prevent calcium from depositing in your arteries. Folate, which is the natural form of folic acid, is critical for your nervous system. Good folate levels are associated with lower risk of stroke, lower risk of dementia, and better mood regulation. So when you eat spinach, you are not just fixing your potassium problem, you are protecting your brain and your bones at the same time. That is a 2-for-1 deal. And this is a big but, I need to correct a common and potentially dangerous habit around spinach. Many people, especially if they grew up eating spinach from a can or from the frozen section, will take fresh spinach, rinse it, and either throw it directly into a hot pan to saute or drop it into a simmering soup, or worse, they eat it raw in a salad every single day. Here is the problem. Spinach contains compounds called oxalates. Oxalates are natural substances found in many plants, but when you eat a lot of raw or undercooked spinach, those oxalates can bind to calcium inside your gut and your bloodstream. They form crystals, tiny, sharp crystals of calcium oxalate. Your body cannot absorb those crystals, so that calcium you took for your bones. It gets flushed down the toilet instead of going to your skeleton, and over time, over months or years, those oxalate crystals can accumulate in your kidneys. That is how kidney stones form. Calcium oxalate stones are the most common type of kidney stone. So the problem is not spinach. The problem is that you are preparing it wrong. The solution is almost laughably simple. Blanch it. Blanching means dropping the spinach into boiling water for a very short time, 30 seconds to 1 minute, and then immediately transferring it to cold water to stop the cooking process. Here's how you do it. Bring a medium pot of water to a rolling boil, add a drop of vegetable oil that helps the spinach stay bright green, add your clean spinach leaves, use tongs to push them down so they all get submerged. Watch closely. As soon as the leaves wilt and turn a deep, vibrant green, usually about 30 to 40 seconds, pull them out. Immediately plunge them into a bowl of cold water. You can even add a few ice cubes. That brief heat breaks down most of the oxalates. They dissolve into the boiling water, which you then pour down the drain. Your spinach now retains nearly all of its potassium, its vitamin K. It's folate, but the oxalates are largely gone. It is safe and it is delicious. Now, let me give you a perfect spring recipe: spinach salad with bean thread noodles. Bean thread noodles, also called glass noodles, mung bean noodles, or cellophane noodles, are made from mung bean starch. They are light, slippery, and very easy to digest. They don't require much chewing at all. After you have blanched and cooled your spinach, take it out of the water and gently squeeze it with your hands to remove excess moisture. You don't need to make it bone dry, just not dripping. Then cut the spinach into shorter pieces, about 2 inches long. Take a bundle of bean thread noodles, usually about 2 ounces per person. Soak them in warm water for about 10 minutes until they become soft and pliable. Then drain that water. Bring a fresh pot of water to a boil, drop the noodles in, and cook for just 2 to 3 minutes. They will turn translucent. Drain them and rinse with cold water. Put the spinach and the noodles together in a large mixing bowl. Now, let's make a simple, flavorful dressing in a small bowl. Mash 3 or 4 cloves of fresh garlic. Spring garlic is especially good. It has a milder, sweeter flavor. Add half a teaspoon of salt, 2 tablespoons of regular soy sauce, 1 tablespoon of black vinegar. If you can't find black vinegar, rice vinegar or even a mild balsamic vinegar works. 1 teaspoon of sesame oil, the real toasted kind, not just plain sesame oil. If you like a little heat, you can also heat a few tablespoons of neutral oil in a small pan. Add a teaspoon of red pepper flakes or chopped dried chili. Sizzle for 30 seconds and pour that spicy oil over everything. Pour the dressing over the spinach and noodles. Use your hands or tongs to mix everything thoroughly. Take a bite. The spinach is sweet and earthy, with no bitter aftertaste. The noodles are slippery and fun. The garlic and vinegar wake up your taste buds. The sesame oil adds a nutty richness. 1 bowl of this on a spring afternoon, and you will feel something shift. That heavy, foggy, I need a nap feeling starts to lift. You feel lighter, clearer. So be honest with me before today. Did you know to blanch your spinach? If you already did, put I knew it in the comments. If you've been eating it raw or just throwing it into soup, put I learned something. No shame, we all learn. Just start doing it right from now on. Number 3, stir-fried white mushrooms with pork slices. When most people walk through the produce section of their grocery store, their eyes go straight to the colorful vegetables, the red bell peppers, the orange carrots, the green broccoli, and they walk right past the mushroom section. I want you to stop doing that, because mushrooms, all mushrooms, but especially white button mushrooms, are one of the best gifts for anyone over 50. Let me tell you why. First, potassium, 100 grams of white mushrooms, that is about 5 or 6 medium mushrooms. contain roughly 310 milligrams of potassium. That is very solid, not quite as high as spinach or potatoes, but still excellent. Second, protein in the vegetable world. Mushrooms are unusually high in plant-based protein. They have been called meat of the field for a reason. That protein helps maintain your muscle mass as you age. But here is the real reason I love mushrooms for older adults. Texture: when you get to be 70, 75, 80 years old, your teeth are not what they used to be. Even with good dentures, chewing tough, fibrous vegetables can be a chore. Try chewing raw celery, try chewing kale, it's work. Mushrooms are the opposite. They are soft, they are smooth, they are almost silky. You could have no teeth at all, just gums, and you could eat mushrooms. They practically melt in your mouth. And yet, they are not mushy like overcooked vegetables. They have a satisfying, meaty bite without being hard to chew. So here is my recommendation: stir-fried white mushrooms with pork slices. This dish combines the potassium from the mushrooms with high-quality protein from lean pork, and it comes together in about 15 minutes. Let me walk you through it at the store. Buy a package of fresh white mushrooms. Look for ones that are firm, white, or off-white with no dark spots or slimminess. Also buy a small piece of pork tenderloin, about half a pound. Pork tenderloin is lean, tender, and doesn't have a lot of tough connective tissue. At home, clean your mushrooms. Do not just rinse them under running water. Mushrooms act like little sponges. Instead, put them in a bowl with water and a teaspoon of all-purpose flour. Swish them around gently. The flour helps lift off any dirt. Rinse and repeat if needed. Then slice the mushrooms into thin pieces about a quarter-inch thick. Now for the pork. Slice the pork tenderloin into thin pieces about the size of a postage stamp and about 1/8 of an inch thick. Try to cut across the grain of the meat, which makes it more tender. Here's my secret to tender, juicy pork every time. Put the pork slices in a bowl. Add a splash of cooking wine or dry sherry, a teaspoon of soy sauce, 1 teaspoon of cornstarch, and 1 teaspoon of oil. Use your hands to mix everything together. Let it sit for 10 minutes. That cornstarch and oil coating will seal in the moisture, so the pork doesn't dry out in the hot pan. Now, cooking: heat a wok or a large skillet over medium-high heat. Add 2 tablespoons of oil. When the oil is hot but not smoking, add the pork slices. Spread them out in a single layer. Let them cook undisturbed for about 30 seconds. Then stir fry quickly for another minute until the pork is just white on the outside and barely cooked through. Take the pork out of the pan and set it aside on a plate. The pan should still have a little oil left. If not, add another teaspoon. Add a handful of chopped green onions and a teaspoon of minced garlic. Stir for 15 seconds until fragrant. Now add the sliced mushrooms. Stir fry them for about 2 to 3 minutes. You will see them start to release liquid. That is a good thing. That liquid is pure umami. Do not pour it out. Once the mushrooms have softened and turned golden, return the pork to the pan. Add a pinch of salt and a tiny splash of oyster sauce, about half a teaspoon. Oyster sauce adds depth and a little sweetness. Stir everything together for another 30 seconds. Turn off the heat, plate it up. The mushrooms will have absorbed the pork juices. They will be slippery, savory, and intensely flavorful. The pork will be tender enough to cut with the side of your fork. This dish is so good that I have seen grandparents and grandchildren literally argue over the last bite. And the best part, your digestion will thank you. No bloating, no heavy feeling, just clean energy. Number 4, fresh fava beans scrambled with eggs. This last one is special, and it is seasonal, which means you only get it for a short window each spring. I am talking about fresh fava beans. You might also know them as broad beans or horse beans. They come in thick, bright green pods, and they are one of the great pleasures of spring cooking. Here's the thing about fava beans: they are only truly delicious and tender for about 4 to 6 weeks in the spring. After that, they get starchy, tough, and hard to find. If you miss this window, you have to wait until next year, so do not let this spring go by without trying them. Nutritionally, fava beans are a powerhouse. Per 100 grams of fresh fava beans, you get about 390 milligrams of potassium. That is nearly as high as potatoes, and they come packaged with 2 other things your body needs: plant protein and fiber. Let me talk about the fiber for a moment. Many of my patients over 60 struggle with constipation. They go 2, 3, sometimes 4 days without a bowel movement. Then they strain on the toilet, and that straining, that Valsalva maneuver, can cause dangerous spikes in blood pressure in people with weak blood vessels. It can even trigger a stroke. Fiber is the solution. Fiber adds bulk to your stool, softens it, and helps it move through your intestines like a gentle, reliable train on a track. Fava beans are a fantastic source of that kind of gentle, soluble fiber. Plus, you get the potassium for your muscles and heart, and the plant protein for muscle maintenance. Three benefits in one humble bean. My favorite way to eat fresh fava beans is the simplest, scrambled with eggs. Here is exactly how to do it. Go to the store, or better, a farmer's market. If you have one nearby, buy fava beans still in their pods. Look for pods that are firm, bright green, and not too bumpy. A little blemish is fine, but avoid pods that are yellowing or dried out. At home, set up a comfortable spot, maybe at the kitchen table with a cup of tea. Put on some music or a podcast. Shelling fava beans is a relaxing, meditative activity. You and your spouse can do it together. Pull the tip off each pod and unzip the seam. Inside, you will find 2 to 5 beans, each covered in a waxy white coating, and then a thin, pale green skin for small. Young beans, you can cook them with that thin skin on. For larger beans, anything bigger than your thumbnail, I recommend peeling off that outer skin. Use your thumbnail to nick the skin and pop out the bright emerald green bean inside. It takes a few extra minutes, but the texture is much more tender and your body digests it more easily. Now, crack 3 large eggs into a bowl, add a pinch of salt and 1 tablespoon of warm water. Not cold water. Warm water, whisk vigorously with a fork or chopsticks for about 30 seconds until the eggs are frothy. That warm water trick makes the eggs fluffier and softer. Heat a skillet over medium heat, add 1 tablespoon of oil. When the oil is hot, pour in the eggs, let them sit for about 15 seconds. Then use a spatula to gently push the cooked edges toward the center. Keep doing this until the eggs are mostly set but still soft and slightly runny on top. Take them out of the pan and set them aside. Do not overcook them. They will continue cooking from residual heat. In the same pan, add another teaspoon of oil if needed. Add your shelled fava beans. Stir fry them for about 1 minute until they smell sweet and fresh. Then add a small splash of water, about 2 tablespoons. Cover the pan with a lid. Let the beans steam for 2 to 3 minutes. This step is critical. Fava beans must be fully cooked. Undercooked fava beans, especially if you eat a lot of them, can cause digestive upset for some people. So make sure they are tender all the way through. You should be able to squish one easily with the back of a spoon. When the beans are tender and bright green, return the scrambled eggs to the pan. Add another pinch of salt if needed. Gently fold the eggs and beans together. Do not stir vigorously. You want to keep the eggs in nice soft curds transferred to a plate. Look at that dish. The eggs are golden yellow, soft and pillowy. The fava beans are bright green, like little jewels. It is one of the most beautiful plates of food you will ever make. Take a bite. The beans are creamy, slightly sweet, with a gentle nuttiness. The eggs are fluffy and light together. They are satisfying without being heavy. You could eat this for breakfast, lunch, or a light dinner, and an hour later, no energy crash, no bloating, just a quiet, steady feeling of being nourished. All right, friend, let me pull this all together. We have walked through 4 high potassium meals: beef stew with potatoes, potassium plus iron for your blood, spinach salad with bean thread noodles, potassium plus vitamin K for your bones and folate for your brain, stir-fried mushrooms with pork, potassium plus easy-to-chew protein, fava bean scrambled eggs, potassium plus fiber for your digestion. I've spent this much time on this topic because in my clinic, I see the same heartbreaking pattern over and over. A patient comes in feeling terrible, low energy, weak legs, heart pounding. They have already been to 2 or 3 other doctors. They have had expensive tests. They have bought over-the-counter supplements that did nothing. They have spent hundreds of dollars, sometimes thousands, on energy boosters, revitalizing tonics, and senior multivitamins they saw advertised on television or social media, and none of it worked because none of it addressed the real problem. They were not low on some exotic herbal extract. They were low on potassium, and the fix was not in a fancy bottle. The fix was at their local grocery store in the produce section for a few dollars. Let me say this as clearly as I can. Your body is a living thing grown from the soil. It was built by real food. It recognizes real food. It knows exactly what to do with potatoes, spinach, mushrooms, and beans. When you eat real food, your body says, yes, I know this. I will take the potassium I need and I will gently eliminate the rest. When you eat an expensive pill or a processed health drink, your body often says, what is this? I don't know what to do with this. And it either ignores the nutrients or gets overwhelmed by them. So save your money, skip the supplement aisle. Spend that money on good, fresh ingredients. Now, before you go, I need to give you two very important pieces of advice. First, watch your salt. As we get older, our taste buds become less sensitive. Food that used to taste perfectly seasoned now tastes bland, so we add more salt to shake here. A pinch there, suddenly we are eating twice as much sodium as we used to. Remember, sodium and potassium are rivals. High sodium tells your kidneys, get rid of the sodium, and your kidneys flush out potassium to do that. You could eat a perfect potato and spinach meal, and then a handful of salty pretzels or a pickle could undo a lot of that good work. So when you cook these four dishes, go easy on the salt. Let the natural flavors shine. Use garlic, ginger, vinegar, herbs, and spices to add flavor instead of just salt. Second, a serious warning for a small group of people: if you or someone you are cooking for has been diagnosed with advanced kidney disease, kidney failure, or is on dialysis. Please stop here and talk to your doctor before adding high potassium foods to your diet. Your kidneys are the only way your body gets rid of excess potassium. If your kidneys are not working well, potassium can build up in your bloodstream. That is dangerous. It can cause heart rhythm problems for everyone else, including most people with well-managed high blood pressure, well-managed diabetes, or mild kidney issues. These foods are safe and beneficial, but when in doubt, ask your doctor. That is what we are here for. You know, I have been doing this work for a long time, and I have learned something. Most of my patients spend their whole lives taking care of other people. They worked hard to provide for their families. They raised children. They worried about mortgages and car payments and college tuition. They put everyone else first, and then they get to this season of life, their 60s, 70s, 80s, and they forget that they deserve to feel good too. So let me tell you what I tell my own patients. The real wealth at this age is not how much money is in your bank account. It is not what kind of car you drive. It is not the size of your house. The real wealth is waking up in the morning with energy. It is being able to walk to the mailbox and back without feeling like you ran a marathon. It is climbing the stairs to your bedroom without your thighs shaking. It is sitting down to a meal and actually enjoying it. It is sleeping through the night without your heart pounding or your mind racing. That is dignity. That is a high quality life, and that life is not far away. It does not require expensive pills or programs. It starts in your kitchen with potatoes, spinach, mushrooms, fava beans, and a little bit of love and care in how you prepare them. So here is my challenge to you. This spring, do not accept feeling old as your destiny. Tomorrow morning, take your grocery bag or your reusable tote and go to the store. Get these four foods. Make the beef stew with potatoes on Sunday. Make the spinach salad on Tuesday. Make the mushroom and pork stir fry on Thursday. Make the fava bean eggs on Saturday. Eat them for 1 month, just 1 month, and after that month, pay attention. Notice how you feel when you climb those stairs. Notice if you still need that 2-hour nap in the afternoon. Notice if your heart still pounds when you walk across the parking lot. I am confident, based on the science and based on my experience with hundreds of patients, that you will feel a difference. And when you do, come back to this video and leave me a comment. Tell me, Doc, you were right, I feel better. That is the only payment I want. If this video helped you, if you learned something new about potassium, if you feel a little less worried about your fatigue, please hit that like button. The YouTube algorithm pays attention to likes. Your like helps more people find this video. People who are tired, people who are scared, people who are spending money on things that do not work. Share this video with your spouse. Send it to your kids, post it in your group chat with your friends. You never know. One share might be the thing that helps someone finally understand why they have been so exhausted. And of course, if you have not already, subscribed to my channel and ring the bell. I make new videos every week with practical, science-based, no-nonsense health information, no fear-mongering, no product sales. Just a doctor who genuinely wants to help you live better. Drop a comment and let me know which of these four dishes are you going to try first, or if you have your own favorite high potassium recipe, share it. I read as many comments as I can. Thank you for spending this time with me today. Thank you for caring about your health enough to watch a longer, detailed video. That tells me you are serious about feeling better. Take care of yourself, be well, and I will see you in the next video. Disclaimer, this is for educational purposes only. Always consult your own doctor before making changes to your diet or health routine. If you are dealing with any health concerns, especially if you have known kidney disease, heart disease, or are on medications that affect potassium levels, please schedule a visit with your primary care doctor. I am here to help you understand the science. I am not here to replace professional medical advice.